Star Trek Legacy could partly happen in Tawny Newsome's comedy. Tawny Newsome mentioning not having to de-age Jonathan Frakes in her untitled Star Trek workplace comedy indicates she and Justin Simien have an eye on incorporating Star Trek Picard's characters last seen at the end of Season 3. Picard wrapped with an unfulfilled setup for a continuation about Captain 7 of 9, Jerry Ryan, and the USS Enterprise G that has been dubbed Star Trek Legacy. However, Paramount Plus never put Star Trek Legacy in development. While the cast and creative team have expressed their desire to return, Picard Season 3 showrunner Terry Matalas moved on to new projects at Marvel Studios and 20th Century Studios. It's quite possible that Star Trek Legacy is a pie-in-the-sky idea that may not come to fruition. However, Tawny Newsome's Star Trek comedy could incorporate Star Trek Legacy guest stars. The comedic possibilities of Captain 7 of 9, Commander Raffi Musiker, Michelle Hurd, and Ensign Jack Crusher, Ed Spaliers, staying in a dysfunctional resort world are endless. Perhaps Captain Will Riker, Jonathan Frakes, and his wife, Counselor Deanna Troi, Marina Sirtis, could even vacation on Tawny Newsome's Star Trek Pleasure Planet. Will Tawny Newsome's Star Trek comedy happen? Tawny Newsome was quick to stress to CinemaBlend that her untitled Star Trek comedy is only in development and that she and Justin Simien have not received a green light from Paramount Plus. Star Trek on Paramount Plus has scaled down to just 3 upcoming projects. Star Trek Section 31, which premieres as the first Star Trek streaming movie on January 25, 2025, Star Trek Strange New Worlds Season 3 in 2025, and Season 4 in 2026, and Star Trek Starfleet Academy, which is filming Season 1 and 2 back-to-back for potential 2026 and 2027 premieres. It's possible that Star Trek on Paramount Plus may ramp up more Star Trek production following the end of Star Trek Discovery, Star Trek Picard, Star Trek Lower Decks, and Star Trek Prodigy on the streamer. If so, Tawny Newsome and Justin Simien's untitled Star Trek workplace comedy is in a prime position to go from development to production. While Newsome and Simien will populate their show with new and original characters, Tawny Newsome's untitled Star Trek workplace comedy seems to be designed with a welcome open-door policy for Star Trek Lower Decks characters to appear in live action. The expansive Star Trek universe has evolved from its science fiction roots into a multifaceted cultural phenomenon. Over the decades, it has covered nearly every genre imaginable, from serious, philosophical science fiction to action-packed adventures, and even touching on romance and mystery. One genre, however, that the Star Trek universe has only recently embraced more fully is comedy. With shows like Star Trek Lower Decks, which features the talents of Tawny Newsome, we're seeing just how funny the Federation can be. This blending of genres presents an intriguing possibility for the future of the franchise. What if Star Trek Legacy, a series fans have been buzzing about for some time, could include elements from Newsome's comedic world? There's potential for Star Trek Legacy to explore the rich legacy of Star Trek while also embracing humor as a powerful storytelling tool. It could offer the perfect combination of homage to Star Trek's storied past while pushing the boundaries of what the franchise can be. The role of Tawny Newsome in Star Trek Tawny Newsome, a comedian, writer, musician, and actor, has brought a unique energy to Star Trek in her role as Beckett Mariner in Star Trek Lower Decks. As one of the leads, Mariner is an irreverent, quick-witted, and deeply relatable character. Her presence challenges the typical stoic, upright figures we've come to expect in Star Trek, and that's precisely what makes her so refreshing. Mariner is the every woman of the Federation, someone who loves Starfleet but isn't afraid to question authority or bend the rules. Newsome's comedic chops and her character's self-awareness have helped Lower Decks stand out in the Star Trek franchise. Lower Decks is a love letter to Star Trek's past, but with a fresh, humorous twist. It's filled with references, callbacks, and homages, but it also offers something new, a fun, irreverent take on the Star Trek universe. Given Newsome's success and popularity within the Star Trek universe, it raises the question, could some of that comedic flair make its way into Star Trek Legacy? And if it did, how would it shape the show? The promise of Star Trek Legacy. Though Star Trek Legacy is still hypothetical at this point, the idea of a series focusing on the continuation of the Next Generation era has been met with excitement. After the conclusion of Star Trek Picard and the highly successful return of several beloved characters like Admiral Jean-Luc Picard, William Riker, and Beverly Crusher, fans have been clamoring for a new show that explores what comes next. A legacy series would likely focus on the future of Starfleet, perhaps showing how the next generation of captains, officers, and crew members navigate the challenges of space exploration, diplomacy, and moral dilemmas. However, what would set Legacy apart is the opportunity to honor the past while moving forward in new and creative ways. By drawing from different aspects of Star Trek, including the humor that Lower Decks has successfully introduced, Star Trek Legacy could be both a respectful nod to the history of the franchise and a boundary-pushing experiment. While Star Trek has traditionally thrived in more serious dramatic narratives, there's no reason it can't weave in humor, especially as a way to humanize its characters and create memorable, relatable moments. Balancing legacy with laughter. If Star Trek Legacy were to take a page from Lower Decks' comedic playbook, it wouldn't need to be a full-on comedy series. Instead, it could use humor to offer a more well-rounded depiction of life in Starfleet. The Star Trek universe is vast, and while there are plenty of serious moments to be had, philosophical debates, life or death situations, moral quandaries, there's also room for levity. Imagine a captain in Legacy who takes after the likes of Captain Riker, charismatic, slightly cheeky, and able to ease tension with a joke. The inclusion of characters with a sense of humor wouldn't detract from the seriousness of the series, but could serve to deepen the emotional engagement with the audience. After all, even in the most intense, dramatic situations, people still crack jokes and find humor in the absurd. It's a very human response, one that would allow the characters in Legacy to feel more grounded and relatable. By incorporating comedic elements, Legacy could take advantage of the full range of emotions that Star Trek has to offer. There's a reason Lower Decks has been successful. It's not just funny, it's smart, and it knows when to pull on the heartstrings. Mariner, for instance, may joke around and disregard protocol, but her character arc has depth and complexity. This balance could be a guiding principle for Star Trek Legacy. Pay homage to the gravitas of the franchise's past, while also embracing the messiness, humor, and heart of being human or alien. A federation that laughs together, incorporating humor into Star Trek Legacy wouldn't just be a nod to Lower Decks. It would also reflect the reality that even in the future, people are funny, situations can be ridiculous, and laughter is sometimes the best way to navigate a crisis. Star Trek has long been about imagining a utopian future where humanity has overcome its worst instincts, but that doesn't mean the future can't be fun. Newsome's comedic talents could influence this future direction, whether through guest appearances or by informing the tone of certain episodes or characters. She's already proven she can handle the delicate balance of paying tribute to Star Trek's past while bringing something new and dynamic to the table. If Star Trek Legacy draws from this comedic energy, it would allow the show to explore new possibilities in the Star Trek universe, combining the best of the old and the new. A Legacy series doesn't have to be weighed down by the pressure of following in the footsteps of Picard or the Next Generation. Instead, it could build its own identity while maintaining the essence of what makes Star Trek so beloved. Incorporating humor doesn't mean sacrificing Star Trek's signature depth and thoughtfulness. On the contrary, it could elevate Legacy, making it more relevant, relatable, and engaging for a modern audience. And who better to help guide that humor than someone like Tawny Newsome, who has already redefined what it means to be a part of Star Trek?